We need to have an honest conversation about the direction this channel is heading, and frankly, about the current state of mental health, both mine and collectively. I just returned from the liquor store after buying every bottle of hard alcohol they had.
Why?
Because I genuinely feel like we, as a society, have hit a new low. It's hard to believe we're at this point, but here we are. And if you haven't been paying attention in the last 12 hours, let me catch you up. In a move that sounds like satire, the province of Nova Scotia has officially banned hiking. Yes, hiking. You're not allowed to walk through nature, go for a peaceful stroll, or engage in outdoor activity, even for your mental health, exercise, or general well-being.
Why?
Due to dry conditions, they claim it's necessary to mitigate the risk of wildfires. As unbelievable as it sounds, this is the new reality. Please bear with me as I share this, because censorship on platforms like YouTube is extremely aggressive right now. If you find value in this content, please support the channel by subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment. It helps bypass the algorithm that suppresses these kinds of discussions. Back to the issue at hand. Nova Scotia introduced sweeping restrictions as of 4 p.m. on August 5th, and they're now enforcing a $25,000 fine for anyone caught walking in the woods or engaging in similar outdoor activities. The restrictions include hiking, camping outside official campgrounds, fishing, and even driving vehicles in forested areas. Only official campgrounds are allowed, and even those come with significant limitations. At the press conference, officials stated that they're taking these actions based on expert recommendations. Their reasoning? They want to get ahead of the problem and be proactive rather than reactive when it comes to wildfire prevention. Now, I understand the importance of protecting nature and preventing wildfires, but banning people from walking in the woods? Let's think about the language they used. The experts have advised. But who are these experts? Why are their names or departments not shared publicly for accountability? In matters where the government limits basic freedoms like movement, transparency should be a minimum requirement. I grew up in Calgary, near Fish Creek Park, where restrictions were placed during dry seasons. You couldn't smoke or light fires, reasonable steps that helped mitigate fire risks. But never in my lifetime did we see a total ban on simply being outside in nature. It's completely unprecedented. Let's examine this further. Why now? Why this level of control? There are people saying, oh, it's about smokers, or it's human error causing fires. But if that's the case, why not target those behaviors specifically instead of banning the general public from enjoying the outdoors? And if safety truly is the priority, doesn't the allowance of camping at designated sites seem contradictory? You can go camping, but only in certain places. How does that reduce wildfire risk more than an individual quietly hiking a trail with no fire, no smoking, and no equipment? These buzzwords, proactive, experts say, stay ahead of the curve, sound eerily familiar. Anyone remember a few years ago when those same phrases were used to justify intense lockdown measures? It always starts small, but people begin accepting overreaches under the guise of safety. The comments I've been reading are filled with frustration and disbelief. One person mentioned how this will severely affect tourism. Many have already booked flights and hotels for hiking trips, only to be told they now face enormous fines just for walking in nature. Another pointed out the absurdity of static electricity from hiking boots being considered a real threat. We're not talking about lighting campfires during a drought. We're talking about walking through the woods. We are treating citizens like criminals for engaging in peaceful, solitary outdoor activity. This is not normal. And again, the fine is no small matter, $25,000. That's a financial burden that could ruin someone's life. Over hiking. Over walking. This is the kind of overreach that feels more about control than prevention. If our government is going to use expert advice as a reason to take away basic freedoms, we deserve to know who those experts are. If they're that confident in their recommendations, they should be able to stand behind them publicly. Otherwise, it becomes an anonymous scapegoat for justifying increasingly authoritarian policies. If these experts are so good at preventing wildfires, why are there still wildfires every year? Why haven't they solved the problem yet? Why haven't they been proactive in areas like Jasper or other parts of Canada that were known tinderboxes long before the fire season even started? This kind of sweeping policy is going to set a precedent. It starts with Nova Scotia, but what's next? Bans on walking in parks across the country? No entry into any forest unless you're a government official? More restrictions every summer until the simple act of enjoying nature becomes something only accessible in a designated, monitored area? The normalization of these kinds of bans is dangerous. We need to push back, not violently but vocally through democratic means and collective action. We have to let our leaders know that we are not okay with this level of intrusion into our lives under the banner of climate action. Before wrapping up, I want to ask, have you ever heard of a hiking ban like this? Do you believe it's justified? Or do you think this is just the beginning of a broader trend toward tighter control over public spaces? Let me know in the comments. And to those still wondering, yes, I'm angry. Yes, I'm disheartened. And yes, I will be enjoying that liquor I bought earlier because sometimes it feels like the only way to cope with the absurdity we're facing.